good everyone, it's Steve from SnkrTechTalk, back with another video today. For today's video, we will be taking a look at the performance review of the Nike GT Cut 3. Alright, so starting off with the traction on the GT Cut 3, as you can see right here in the forefoot and the heel, you do have a herringbone traction pattern that does kind of go up to a peak and then back down. And how this performs on clean floors. On clean floors, you'll be good to go. You basically won't have to wipe at all. These things have a crazy bite, a very loud squeak. Whether you're making forward motions or lateral cuts, this shoe will have you covered on really clean floors. Now on dirty floors, it's a bit of a different story. I play about 2 or 2.5 hours on my Sunday runs, and the floors can be pretty dirty from time to time. And I was making a really hard lateral cut my second game in, and I hadn't wiped this shoe in about 5 to 10 minutes, and I damn near did the splits. Like my foot slid out from underneath me. So if you're going to be playing on dirty floors, you will have to wipe the bottom of this shoe to keep that traction performing great. As you can see right here, I have played about 15 hours in these so far, and there's really no wear and tear on this traction pattern at all. And another thing to mention is that this traction pattern is decoupled, so the forefoot and the heel are not connected at all. There is foam and then this plate kind of connecting them, but they are two different portions of rubber, and this is a translucent rubber outsole. As you can see in the forefoot, it's red, in the heel it is clear, and these actually pick up a decent amount of dust. I do have a picture I'll show you guys really quickly, but they do pick up some serious dust. So again, clean floors, you'll be good to go. Dirty floors, you're gonna have to wipe every other play to keep this traction performing great. Otherwise, you might have some issues. So as far as the traction goes on the Nike GT Cut 3, I'm gonna have to give these a decent 8 out of 10. So as far as the cushioning goes on these guys right here, as you all know, this is Nike's first basketball shoe with Zoom X foam. Now what you're getting housed on the outside of this shoe right here is actually a really dense Phylon material for the foam here on the outside, and that's to offer some stability from side to side so the shoe is not teetering side to side too much. Now you may ask why they did not go with the full-length Zoom X foam on the outside for the carrier as well. And as you can see right here in the next percents, this foam is just so soft. It has a ton of crush, it just compresses like crazy. So when you have a running shoe like this, it's okay because in the forward motions, you'll be good to go. But if you were to play basketball in a shoe with Zoom X foam only on the midsole, there will be no stability from side to side. So that is why they did replace the Zoom X midsole on the outside with that really dense Phylon. Now you might ask how this performs. The first hour or so, it did feel kind of dead in my opinion, but as you play in these, they do get a lot better. It does soften up a ton. Now the only big thing that I didn't care for is in the heel, it's such a large chunk of Zoom X that it compresses a ton, but it's not very responsive. It doesn't have much bounce back to it. You just kind of compress into the shoe and it becomes a little bit dead. It kind of feels like you're stepping on a marshmallow, and it has that nice compression, and then that's about it. So in the forefoot, it is a little bit springier because it is a thinner setup, and you do have that plate running into the forefoot. So I did find the forefoot of the shoe to be a little bit nicer than the heel, but if you are expecting kind of like a Zoom Air feeling, you're not gonna get that here in the GT Cut 3. Now with the 1 and 2 for the GT Cuts, they did have full length Zoom Stroll and the drop-in midsole. With this, they definitely changed it up a ton. It just kind of has a standard insole in these guys here with that full bed of Zoom X foam directly underfoot. As far as the heel to toe transition goes in these guys, it's very natural, especially once that Phylon material does break in. Just having that full length bed of Zoom X underfoot, it just offers a very natural feeling from heel to toe. And then as far as the forefoot goes for court feel, these are pretty close to the floor, you know, not anything crazy like a Kobe, but for today's standard, they are pretty decent as far as court feel goes. So I think smaller guards won't mind this shoe. I just think if you don't care for a cushioning system that kind of has a ton of compression and not a ton of feedback, then you might want to skip these altogether. But for me, being about 6'3", 215 pounds, I really enjoyed the impact protection in the Nike GT Cut 3. So as far as the cushioning goes, I'm gonna have to give these an 8.5 out of 10. Keep in mind, if you do put these on for the first time and you're not really wowed by them, they do take some time to break in. So just be patient with this shoe because it does take some time to break in. As far as the materials go on the Nike GT Cut 3, starting at the back of the shoe, you do have this screen mesh that does wrap around the heel of the shoe, and then some synthetic nubuck or suede material right here at the back. And then as you go throughout the upper, moving your way towards the front of the shoe, it is kind of a textile material. It's very thin, it's pretty strong, and it has a ton of holes throughout the upper to offer some breathability. So the side panels right here are completely like see-through with those little holes. And then you do have a bunch of punch outs right here by the eyelets. And then as you work your way down to the toe box, this is kind of like a synthetic nubuck or suede. I would say it's actually like a really cheap felt, but it does have that on the toe box running all the way up the tongue. And the tongue is very nicely padded, as is the ankle collar. So you will have some nice padding in the GT Cut 3. And then you also have this flywire material running on the medial and the lateral side, and that's to offer some support. So we will talk about that in the support or containment portion of this shoe. But as far as the materials go, it's really nothing special, especially for a $190 basketball shoe in the US. I think it's going to be like $250 here in Canada. So really nothing special, honestly kind of cheap in my opinion, and just a little bit disheartening because I really enjoyed the materials on the GT Cut 1. The 2s were a bit of a downgrade. I would say these are better than the 2s, but just not worth the price jump at $190. So as far as the materials go, I'm gonna have to give them a 7.5 out of 10. Really nothing special, and they don't have a ton of break-in time, which is definitely nice on foot, but just not something that I'm very happy about, especially for that price point at $190. So as far as the weight goes on the GT Cut 3, like I mentioned, this is a US size 10.5, and these do come in at 12.85 ounces. So all things considered in today's market for basketball shoes, this is very light as far as I'm concerned. As far as the fit goes on this pair right here, I did get my standard true to size 10.5. Now keep in mind, I did grab these from ID4 Shoes. So this is the EP version. They typically run a little bit wider here in the forefoot, but as far as the fit goes, it's a very snug one-to-one fit. If you do like a very snug basketball shoe, I would say go true to size. My toe is sitting right about here at the end of the shoe, so that's perfect for me because I like that really snug fit with no movement within the shoe. As far as wide footers, this is the widest GT Cut yet. So you might be able to go true to size as a wide footer, or if you want to go up half a size just to be safe. But I would say if you can, as always, try them on in store. For me, it's a very snug one-to-one fit. It does take some time to break in because this material breaks in very quickly. But I did find that I did have to adjust my laces once or twice in my first session. And then everything after that, these just fit great on foot. It just honestly feels like this shoe is not even on your foot because it's so lightweight and it fits so snug. So as far as the fit goes in the Nike GT Cut 3, I'm gonna have to give them a very solid 9 out of 10. Now, as far as the support goes in the GT Cut 3, starting at the back of the shoe, you do have a TPU internal heel counter, which is definitely sturdy and locks your foot in very nicely at the back of the shoe, as long as you're getting your proper size and really tying these things down tight. They're meant to be tied down tight because you don't want any movement within the shoe. If you do achieve those two things, this heel counter will definitely lock you in very nicely. And then this upper material, it's very thin, but it's very strong. So on hard lateral cuts, this material is going to house your foot within the shoe and keep it on the footbed. The same goes for this flywire material here on the lateral and medial side. That's there, so if you crank these two bottom eyelets down really tight, that's going to wrap around your foot kind of like a seat belt and prevent your foot from spilling over the side of the shoe. And then you also have this kind of rubberized kind of clip right here. It's very reminiscent of kind of what was on the Kobe 10. So that's also there wrapping up to kind of prevent your foot from spilling over the side. So this shoe has a pretty decent containment as far as I'm concerned. I really had no issues. Again, I'm like 215 pounds at 6'3", and I thought this shoe was stable enough for all my hard movements and cuts on the floor. Moving your way to the bottom of the shoe, you do have a pretty wide and stable base here at the forefoot, a little bit more narrow at the heel, and then you also have this plastic shank plate right here that does wrap up into the forefoot. Now it is very soft. As you can see right here, this shoe does bend in half, very easily, but it does have a decent spring back, as you can see right here. And then in the forefoot, it is pretty rigid, so it's not overly soft in the forefoot as far as that shank plate. So it does offer some decent torsional rigidity, as you can see right here. Nothing special, but it will definitely get the job done. And then right here on the lateral side, you also kind of have this lateral flange or an outrigger. So that's going to prevent your foot from teetering over the side of the shoe. So all things considered, I would say this is a pretty supportive basketball shoe, especially for the package that you're getting it in a very minimal setup. So as far as the support goes in the GT Cut 3, I'm going to have to give them a pretty decent 8.5 out of 10. So that's going to do it for today's performance review on the Nike GT Cut 3. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this basketball shoe and if you've tried them out thus far. I would say it's definitely an upgrade from last year as far as how the GT Cut 2s perform, but I will have to say the GT Cut 1s still take the cake as far as performance basketball shoes that Nike has made recently. These are pretty decent as far as I'm concerned, but the price hike up to $190, in my opinion, is not justified. For me, my biggest letdown was the cushioning system. I just wasn't a huge fan on how non-responsive it was. For me, I think if they would have left the full-length Zoom Strobel in and then modified the drop-in midsole to be a lot more similar to the Nike GT Run 1, where it's a lot more of a low-profile React drop-in midsole, I would have much preferred that because you would have stayed closer to the floor while still maintaining that Zoom Strobel directly underfoot, offering just a very plush ride that is responsive. As always, if you guys can like, comment, and subscribe, that does help the channel a ton. And check out my Instagram over at SnkrTechTalk, as it is an extension of my YouTube channel with all my pickups, basketball footage, and nostalgia as a whole. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and until next time, peace.